Hello Virgo, great to have you here. My name is Shauna. Today's reading is a general love forecast for November 2025. As always, take the messages that resonate and release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way, Virgo. And possibly this year as well. This spread reflects the 12 houses of natal chart, of natal astrology. And I have pulled out one card for each house, and each house will deal with a specific aspect of your life. Look at all areas of your life and to see which areas need a little bit of work, because I feel like whatever's not dealt with, measure to iron out, smooth out certain areas that might be problematic, okay? So we're going to go into the spread, and I will explain what each house represents when I talk about the cards. And after that, I'm going to do your love reading. The love reading is going to be the same spread as the previous months, all right? So let's go into this. The first house and the first card that came out here is the Ace of Pentacles. The first house deals with the, traditionally it's the rising sign or the ascendant. And by the way, it would be also meaningful if you guys can also watch your rising sign. So I would say, start with the rising sign, then the sun sign, then the moon sign, mainly because this is going to reflect, the rising sign as well. But the sun in rising is still applicable, and then the moon sign. So first of all, with the first house basically represents the face, the image that you present to the world. And it's also, the way that the energy that you carry into this month with you, and the way that other people see you. It might not be like a true reflection of, how you feel about yourself, but it's definitely the way that people see you. With the Ace of Pentacles, this is a very, very, very good card, specifically because you are an earth sign. So this is pretty much stating that you are in your element, okay? You're starting to build up something of value from scratch. You are somebody that is very diligent. You're not afraid to get your hands dirty in order to build something of value. And we're not just talking, material wealth. We're talking about building something that can stand the test of time. This is a very, very practical minded type of a card, mainly because of the Suit of Pentacles. A lot of you might have simply started a new job, and things have stabilized, and so right now you are actually starting the progress, or starting to progress with the new job, starting to have a little bit of extra money, disposable income, as a result of some new endeavor. And so this is a card that indicates abundance, okay? Somebody that has who's sensible with money, but they also have quite a bit of money stored up or saved up, and they're not dealing with any type of financial hardships, okay? And this is the way that house deals with your finances and your values. So let's talk about your financial situation. I feel that some of you might have two sources of income. You're doing one thing, which might be like a main job, because Virgos are typically great at doing that. And then you have some other side gigs, side projects that you're handling as well. And the money from that side gig and side project, I feel like it's not enough to quit your main job and to focus on that exclusively. I feel that you have two jobs, you're juggling two things, and I do sense as well. You're trying to get your bearing, you're trying to get your balance, okay? As it pertains to also your money situation, this is a card about juggling finances, juggling bills, juggling, responsibilities on the practical front. I feel that time and things like that is going to be very short this month. So I do sense that some of you who might have started a new job, you're trying to get your bearing and you're trying to get things in order, okay? So be careful about, overspending. This is like anticipating some big financial windfall that's going to come through for you. And then you spend whatever you project that you're going to get, or you're going to earn, or you're going to receive. And then, finding out that you're going to be a little bit short. So be careful as you proceed through this month. For those of you who are in the US and you are filing taxes, for example, anticipating that you're going to get, some big major tax return. And so you're already spending that money ahead of time. Just be careful about that, okay? Be careful about the tendency to do that if that's something you're dealing with. As it relates to your value system, the Two of Pentacles basically means going back and forth, not being really sure about where we stand when it comes to defending our values, or, I want to say like where we stand when it comes to like what we really believe in. So this is like oscillating back and forth on the one hand, on the other hand. And I'm inclined to say Libra. Some of you, you know, like you're taking on more of the Libran traits where you're kind of like not really sure, and you're still open to the alternate discourse. You're open to the other, to hear the other side of the story. So I feel like your opinions have not been formed yet. And on top of that, what it's saying for you for this month is I feel that it is really important for you to be very, very firm in your stance, in the things that you believe in, and hold very, very close to your values, because there will be situations and people that come through and they challenge your value system, okay? They could push boundaries, or they can provide an alternative like way of looking at a situation that will really broaden your mind. But because I feel this is, you know, you're an earth sign, this is the suit of you. It would be really, really important for you not to lose yourself and to hold very, very tightly to your values and not be persuaded unless the other person has a valid argument. So don't be persuaded by somebody who is intelligent or who can, you know, dish out a shiny new argument. Just make sure that the logic is foolproof, first of all, before you know, bandwagon, okay? So that's just something to keep in mind about, okay? And I feel like some of you might be born on the Virgo Libra cusp, and so this energy is becoming more prominent. The third house deals with siblings, and it also deals with communication. In terms of your communication, once again, we do have the devil, and the devil's in the reverse position. And both of these cards indicate to me as well, you know, wanting, I feel like when it comes to your communication, you are a little bit stealthy. It's almost like playing devil's advocate. It's almost like wanting to communicate in a way so that it allows other people to expand their critical thinking skills. So you're playing both sides, and you're allowing somebody to kind of like, you know, be open-minded or to find a different way of looking at a situation. For example, I feel like a lot of you might be in some type of a supervisory, managerial type of a position, right? And you're dealing with somebody who's not really capable of what they're doing. So they're coming to you constantly, all the time, asking questions. And rather than just telling them what they should do, you want them to be able to think logically what the steps are that they need to do in order to know what they're supposed to do, so that they don't come to you again in the future. So it's kind of like through, you know, the whole process of leading them on and allowing them an opportunity to think critically for themselves, I feel that you're going to have to like kind of push them along, nudge them along. You might have to play devil's advocate, playing both sides, so that they refine their own stance and their own critical thinking capabilities. So I feel like communication is going to be it's going to be directed towards a lot of problem solving. And then I feel that a lot of you, with the devil in the reverse, this is a card about restriction. This is a card about like ways of doing, ways of thinking as well, that might be energetically or even spiritually restricted. So when it's in the reverse position, it basically means, you know, letting go of our prejudices, letting go of our preconceived notion in order to communicate in a way that is a little bit more inclusive. So this is a very, very good card overall as it deals with your communication, okay? I feel as well as it relates to like, you know, your third house, which is siblings. With the devil card in the reverse position, I feel very, very strongly there might be demands, obligations coming through from a sibling that might have been very, very restrictive to your lifestyle. So, for example, I feel that a lot of you grow up in an environment, if you have siblings to begin with, and siblings can be, you know, step siblings as well, adopted siblings and things like that. It doesn't have to be biological, but whoever it is that you consider your sibling. With the devil, I feel that, you know, it's generally considered somebody who makes bad decisions, who might be stuck in toxic relationships, who might be spinning their wheels, trying to find, you know, like healthy relationships to be in. And with the devil in the reverse, it basically means they are overcoming all of these challenges in their own life. And as a result of it, they're not going to be so burdensome for you anymore. The devil also indicates some type of like a karmic bond with siblings, where one person, it's like, you're both siblings. You're supposed to be on equal footing. But with the devil, it basically means karmic ties that might not be entirely easy to deal with. And it relates to like one sibling having to play the parental figure to the other sibling, either teaching them or having to physically take care of them. And I feel that, this is something that has happened in the past. And so it's coming to an end sometime for this month, okay? And it sounds very drastic, but I feel that either you are releasing, you cannot you can no longer invest yourself to be connected to them anymore, or there has been some type of a change around in their psyche where they are able to, take ownership of their own life. So you're not going to need to be there to constantly play the parental figure. So they can pretty much learn how to self-monitor and they're okay. It's a positive card, and if it's going to come out, it's best in the reverse position. So the fourth house deals with the mother as well as the family, the childhood, the family that you grew up in, as well as the family that you're creating for yourself, or the family that you have created for yourself already right now. So let me talk about the mother figure first. The Ten of Pentacles is, first of all, it's generational wealth, and it deals with value system as well. So what I feel is, from the maternal side of the family, there was a lot of family like inputs. It seems to me like the mother, your mother, or the person that you consider to be your mother. It could even be your grandmother, but whoever raised you, and whoever you consider to be your mother. The environment that she grew up in, it seemed like they had a very big family. A lot of you probably had a lot of aunts, a lot of uncles, a lot of cousins, and things like that. It seems like a house with many offsprings, and one of the offsprings happens to be your mother. What they're also saying is there's a lot of support, like monetary support, financial support, coming through from the mother's side of the family as well to the mother. There might have been a lot of wealth. There might have been a lot of they're saying refinement. So this is a very cultured household. And I feel that it's not an emotional household. Like the people, the members of the family, they're not, dripping with love and affection. They care. But I feel that they tend to be a little bit more status conscious, and they tend to be a little bit more a little bit too wrapped up in money, finances, as well as reputation. So it's neither good or bad, but I feel like that's the household environment that the mother grew up in, okay? And so what it does too is it creates somebody who has a similar disposition, somebody who might be, very finance driven. She might have been very careful with money. She might have been like she might have grown up in an environment as well where she values status. She values like material things. So I feel like that's what we're dealing with here. And some of you, there might be some conflict of interest overall. But the household environment as well that you grew up in, there seems to me to be, this is the childhood home that you grew up in. It seems to me as if there might have been a very small space. And this is you I'm speaking about now, no longer the mother. There might have been like a very small confined space, a lot of clutter, a lot of things within the household. And there might have been, like small space, confined spaces with a lot of people as well. And it felt almost as if there is a lack of privacy. It felt almost as if the household environment, there's a lot of generations living in it. So grandmothers, mothers, and daughters, and it can be for males too, like grandfathers, fathers, and mothers. So there is a sense of like having respect for hierarchy, having respect for your elders, and having, this sense of that whole traditional extended family type of environment where people really revere their elders, and they They really have love and respect for their parents. So this is the household that you grew up in. And so I feel like it's forming your value system as we progress into this year. So this is the environment that you grew up in, and as a result of it, I feel that you are questioning the values that was in place when you were young, and you're also trying to create your own value system so that you can pass down to your children. So you're picking and choosing generational values and to see what's still applicable and to see what's really important enough for you to pass down to your own children, okay? As it relates to the family unit that you have right now, the family that you have formed for yourself or you're currently in, this is the Ten of Pentacles, basically indicates a lot of abundance. And I feel that you're in a position where, you can afford nice things and not just random knickknacks, but this is like investing in pieces of furniture, investing in artwork, investing in like home decor that has a lot of value. And that has a big sense of like quality over quantity. So I do feel financial abundance in the household. There's always food available. No one is starving. And it seems a little bit congested and a little bit crowded, but I do sense that it feels very homey. Like it feels like a home rather than just an empty, sterile household. So it feels very warm and loving and caring. Now, in terms of your fifth house, the fifth house deals with creativity, recreation, fun, the things that you do in order to seek, self-enjoyment. And it also deals with children as well. With the Queen of Wands in the reverse position, I feel that a lot of you are not going out as much, okay? So this is the card about somebody who he or she is very, very popular, very well liked, and life of the party, and a little bit flirtatious as well. When it shows up in the reverse position, it's this energy being a little bit tempered is what I would say. So it basically means, not really reaching out to networks of friends and your social circle in order to go out. I feel that you might be a little bit of a homebody sometime for this month, mainly because you enjoy the comfort of home, you enjoy the stability of it. And I feel that overall you're either entertaining guests at home and you're not going out as much. What I also feel is there might be parental responsibilities within your household for whatever reason. There are parental responsibilities. Either you are taking care of your own children, and so you're not able to go out as much as you used to. Okay? As it relates to the fifth house, it also indicates as well, the people that you are romantically drawn to, just the people that you have an affinity to. There might be a fire sign in your recreation environment. So this might be somebody that you're talking to, not dating just yet. This might be somebody that you're interested in. And this might be somebody that you like, and you might even be going out with them a lot. And it's shown up here as the Queen of Wands, which is a fire sign. A Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo, a Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female. And this is somebody that I feel, on the one hand, they are kind of like the life of the party. But on the negative manifestation of this card, they are somebody that is a little bit like too wrapped up in their own problems, okay? They're a little bit too they're dealing with their own emotion, like inner turmoil. They're dealing with things in their own lives. And so I feel that you can't really rely on them to be that, I guess like that shoulder to lean on. So you can't rely on them to be there if you need to vent. So I feel like they're a little bit too wrapped up in things that are going wrong in their own life, and they might need you to be there for emotional support. This is also indicative of somebody who's very, very like, they're very passionate, very sexually exciting, but their energy is very, very inconsistent. So it's like, they're changeable. And they might be prone to, mood swings. They might be prone to like outbursts, is what I'm feeling. it's not like indicative of all fire signs, but this is just to remind you that the person, if this sounds familiar, this person might be a little bit difficult to contend with for this month, and they're going to need a lot of ego stroking. They're going to need a lot of compliments. They're going to need a lot of reassurance, okay? And verbal reassurance and things like that would actually go a long way with this fire energy. Now, as it relates to, in terms of we're moving on to the sixth house. The sixth house deals with work, it deals with health, and it deals with your daily routine. We have here the Ten of Swords, so a lot of you have literally just recovered from a cold. And then a lot of you have just recovered from surgery and you're feeling a lot better. You might have taken some time off, recover from some type of a major procedure. You're starting work again, and so you're sorting out your financial situation. So it could be as simple as that. What it also shows up as here with the Ten of Swords is in terms of your daily routine. We might have had a situation where, the house was a little bit messy and you were very busy, or you might have been under the weather. The house was getting a little bit messy. The dishes were piling up and, like the ants started crawling in. So that's worst case scenario. That's what I'm sensing. So there might have been something with your routine where you felt like you did not have enough time to take care of practical responsibilities. And so coming into this month, the worst of it is over. They're saying the worst of it is over. And on top of that, it's the time of Capricorn, a fellow earth sign. So it's going to, the sun is in Capricorn. So that's going to trine your sun as well, creating a very harmonious aspect. And Capricorn deals with structure. It deals with organization as well. And, naturally, you're going to whip your environment into shape. You're going to get some things like dust off, the shelves, start doing the dishes, and, get back into a normal routine. And in order to have like a more regular schedule as it relates to work, as it relates to recreation, as it relates to just the everyday maintenance that we have to do in order to sustain our living environment and our living conditions. So I feel like the worst of it is over, and I feel that as well you are getting things back into a routine. You're getting things back on track, okay? So it looks very, very good. As it relates to your work environment, this is also a very, very good card. And, if it's going to come out at all, it's best in the reverse position because what I'm sensing here is that... What I'm sensing here is this. First of all, I feel like a lot of you might have started a new job recently. It might have been a few months ago, but you're actually starting the work. You're actually like getting in there sometime this month and to do the work that you're actually supposed to do. So I don't know why there might have been some stalled energy that prevented you from actually starting the work, but this is the month in which it's happening. And when you are going into that, I feel that there might have been a lot of like backed up work that might not have been completed by whoever it was that you're taking over for. And so there's some type of, catching up when it comes to work, okay? And there's also an element here of, I want to say like if there has been some type of, you're very, very meticulous. And a lot of the times, people dash off things to you and you always catch mistakes. Like you have a really, really keen eye for details. So I feel like you're going to be perusing some data, some information, and you're catching up the details. You're catching on the details. And it's funny because we're still going to be in Mercury in retrograde for the first half of this month, and including the shadow period. And so it's a good time for mistakes to come to light so that they can be fixed, okay? It's just a good time in general for mistakes to be unearthed and discovered so that it doesn't lead to something worse down the line. So I feel like that's what's happening in your work environment. You're doing some damage control. You're doing some type of like fixing mistakes that other people are doing. And I feel like you're not just catching little minor things here and there. You're catching like big, big, big mistakes. And I feel that you're going to have to then bring it to your supervisor's position. And then you're kind of afraid like, well, if I do this, then everybody is going to think I'm a goody two-shoes. And am I going to get, like any type of am I going to be ostracized from by my coworkers, for example? Don't worry about it. Do the right thing. Do what you need to do, because I feel like you're kind of like juggling between, should I or shouldn't I? Should I do this, or should I call this person out? Should I like bring this up to my supervisor's attention, because the other person might get in trouble? So I feel like that's the dilemma I see coming through. Okay? Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Wherever you go, you're going to encounter this energy. So, not to be fatalistic, but I feel that, you're there, you're ruled by Mercury. And, if these mistakes are coming through during a Mercury in retrograde cycle, and you're the one that's catching all these little mistakes here and there, it's meant to be. I don't know how else to say it. So, just do the right thing. Get it taken care of. Get it fixed so that people can take responsibility for doing their jobs right. Just the first time. Okay, so don't worry about anything else. You have some strong protection. Okay, and I'm going to go into that strong protection in a little bit. I've been seeing it for the past few months for you Virgo. So I feel that don't worry about what it is that you're worried about, especially when it comes to work. Okay. So the next card here deals with relationships and romance. It's the 7th house, and the 7th house deals with partnerships. So this is like romantic partnerships or business partnerships that you're hoping to get into, okay? What they're saying, first of all, with the Emperor in the reverse, this is what I call like a blockage. And I'm just going to throw this out there for those of you who are wondering. If you are thinking about like, should I partner up with this person? I feel like the answer is yes, but not right now. Okay? It feels as if to me that you're meant to be doing something else. And I also feel like a lot of the times you are a really, really competent sign, and you're very careful. And because you're so careful, everything that you plan out, it always comes to fruition. Mainly because, you anticipate the different trajectories that projects and ideas can take. And so you don't enter situations lightly. And so they want you to like, first of all, decide on the true intentions you have for entering into a business partnership. Is it because you don't have the initial capital in order to finance something, so you want to take on another person that can be a financier? Or is it because you feel like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't have the confidence that I'm going to be able to do it on my own. And they're saying, yes, you actually can do it on your own. And then the third option is, I don't know if I have the time to invest in it, and I don't know if I can do it on my own. And if the third option is what you have in mind, then yes, take on a partner. That seems like a valid reason. If the first choice, where you feel almost as if, I don't have the initial seed capital, so I need another person to be on board to be a partner, otherwise the project can't get off the ground, they're telling you to reassess it, okay? So the third reason seems like the best reason if you are thinking about partnership, mainly because you might not have the time and you want to show, you want to share the responsibilities between two people. That seems like the best option. And so partnerships, like work partnerships, there is some innate blockages here that's preventing it from coming together. And they're telling you mainly, to re-examine your motives and to re-examine your intentions. I feel that a lot of you're very, very capable. And a lot of the times you get into work partnerships or even business partnerships, and you end up shouldering all the responsibilities. So don't let this happen again. If that sounds familiar, just save yourself the trouble. Don't let it repeat, and don't let it happen again, okay? On top of that, in terms of your romantic partnerships, yes. So we have the Emperor in the reverse position. I feel like some of you might be dealing with a love partner that has the qualities of this person. So the Emperor in the reverse, first of all, let's talk about him upright. So this is a partner of yours. He or she can exhibit the qualities of this person where they are a little bit biased, they're a little bit unfair, and they're a little bit like, I almost feel double standards, okay? So you might be dealing with somebody who is who might be in control, in a position of power. They might wield a lot of power. but for some reason there might be a lack of contribution in your environment, okay? And I feel that there might be some type of a power issue, power struggle, or they might be prone to jealousy and manipulation. At their worst, they're like prone to jealousy and manipulation. At their best, they try to do the right thing by everybody. And, they make those difficult choices in order to make everybody happy. I feel in a way they might be a little bit too diplomatic, where they try to please everybody. This is not typically the emperor, but when it shows up in the reverse, it's somebody that, doesn't operate from a place of truth, but they rather, they might like justify what they're doing, mainly because they want to please. So they're not like in a position of, they're not in a good position to be a good leader. Okay. And then for others of you, this is the card. I usually think of this as like father figures as well. For some of you, your partner might be dealing with some things within his or her side of the family as it relates to the paternal side of the family as well. And so they might not be emotionally available, or they might be just MIA, like out of the picture sometime for this month. So if they're out of the picture, I feel like this is you want to take care of it, you want to fix it. If you feel like you need more attention, more time, or if you feel like you need more space and things like that, you want to get the situation fixed, okay? Because the whole point of doing these readings is so that we can change certain things in our lives that we're not happy with, so that the situations doesn't, become aggravated and get worse throughout the year, all right? So already we do have here work environment, work partnerships, as well as romantic partners that might not be there where you need them, okay? And I'm going to do your love reading in a little bit to see what, to look at it a little bit more in depth, okay? So the 8th house, first of all, deals with your joint finances. It's the house of sex, rebirth, death, and regeneration. It's also a very, very psychic house. And first of all, you have, like I mentioned earlier, let's talk about the spiritual protection. So the Hermit, this is a card about spiritual guidance. It's basically telling you to look into a situation and to figure out, whether or not it's going to be good. And I feel that some of you might be in a situation specifically. So the 8th house is opposite from the 2nd house that rules your value system and your finances. They're telling you that, maybe you should take a more non-traditional route when it comes to earning income. Because I feel like you're juggling 2 jobs, you're juggling multiple things, and you're juggling possibly multiple, expenditures. So they're telling you, is there an easier way for you to do this? Is there an easier way for you to just narrow it down so that you can find one way to make income that can work for you? And so they're telling you, what else can you do better in order to manage your income and to let money grow for you, instead of always like going out there, getting your hands dirty, doing like that 9 to 5, and, having to clean up other people's problems in order to make money. Is there something else that you can do to let your money grow for you? Okay. And I do feel a lot of things here that indicate, generational wealth, family as well, and real estate as well. So those might be areas that you want to look into. I feel that you will be very good at it, okay? And then likewise, with the Hermit in the 8th house, what it's pretty much telling you as well is when it comes to like joint finances, for example, I feel that a lot of you are either looking into your partner's finances, whoever it is that you share finances with. You're kind of curious and you're just like, I wonder how much money they're making, and why are they contributing so much, or why are they contributing so little? So I feel like there's some curiosity in that manner, and it's basically nudging you to look into it and to see if there's some discrepancy between how much money is coming in and how much money is leaving, okay? And to make sure that, is this situation fair, or is one person shouldering, more responsibilities than the other? So your joint finances as well, as it relates to another person, it needs to be re-examined. With the Hermit as well, what I'm also feeling is that this is a really, really spiritual card, and it basically means that there's a lot of snippets of intuitive knowledge. There's a lot of like just guidance overall. If you have a question about something, ponder about it right before you go to sleep and ask for some signs, some signals to steer you in the right direction or to at least answer your inquiry in your dreams. It's going to come through. You have some very strong spiritual protection and spiritual guides coming through to lead you in the right direction. Okay, so it's like, I think of it as, problem solving at night in your sleep state when you are unguarded. The spiritual messages will start to come through for you, okay? And even if you are going to work, for example, and you're going through the motions and you have like a long-standing problem that has really stumped you, like honestly, this works really well. Go to a park or something, sit on a bench, and just observe people for a little while, and while you are thinking about that problem. So drift in and out of thinking about the problem and then doing a little bit of observation around your environment, and the answer will come to you. It really does work, and I do feel, especially for this month, your psychic house is being lit up. Okay, so it's a good method for problem solving. And so moving on to the next phase, we are dealing with the ninth house. And the ninth house deals with higher education. It deals with religion. It also deals with foreign travel. And first of all, let's talk about this as, the house of foreign travel. I feel like a lot of you are either thinking about, like settling overseas permanently. I feel like you're idealizing some type of lifestyle, some type of property, or even some type of like increased standard of living as it relates to being overseas, okay? And then others of you, you might have some type of property, maternal side of the family, property coming through here that you are thinking about. Okay, so you're just thinking about it, and there is some spiritual guidance here about, like, are you meant to inherit it, or are you meant to take care of it? So there's something coming through. It keeps coming through about property, and it keeps coming through about a lot of generational wealth coming through from the mother's side of the family, which seems very, very positive. And so you might be thinking about settling overseas, or there is a property overseas that you're dealing with or thinking about. With the with the Four of Wands, it's a marriage card, and a lot of you, they're saying like being in a relationship with a foreigner. This is a very good card about, starting new relationships and things like that with somebody who is of a different origin, a different cultural group, or from like a different ethnic group. So there might be a marriage, like, people tying the knot who are culturally different from one another. So if that is something that you're dealing with right now, congratulations for with the marriage nuptials and things like that. Okay. So moving on, 10th house deals with career, and it also deals with like the father figure. So first of all, let's talk about your career. So your career track, I feel that, the past few, I want to say like, let's say the past 7 months, I feel that a lot of you have done a period of major reassessment to see if the work environment that you're in is still serving its purpose. I feel that you worked tirelessly, and there wasn't that much of a pay increase. There wasn't much of a status change, right? And I feel that, you work tirelessly and you're waiting for something to come to fruition, like either somebody noticing the work that you've done, writing a stellar performance review for you, and then, recommending you for a position that will allow you to increase your pay or increase your salary or increase your status or your title somehow. And I feel like you might have waited, and it didn't pan out the way that you'd hoped. And then for others of you, you are doing like some major reassessment as well to see whether or not you're on the right career track. When it shows up in the reverse position, it basically means that you are already taking steps to move it along. So that's why I feel like a lot of you are starting new positions, okay? And if you haven't done anything like that, I do feel like there might have been that period of waiting finally panning out, where you are getting some type of new either like a pay increase, a salary increase, or something like that. But you might realize that, hey, it's coming a little bit too belatedly. And so I feel like I should look elsewhere for new opportunities. I should look for another position, another job, or change industry altogether. So I do feel that your career house is it's going to be something that is going to need to be action, like that enthusiasm about wanting to wake up every morning to go to work. So I do feel you're doing some reassessment in that manner. 11th house deals with friends and group associations. We have here the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords, as it relates to your friends, I feel as well there might have been some arguments, disputes, some falling out between people. And, 5th house recreation here, it's being blocked. I feel like you're not going out as much. And I feel that you're not going out as much mainly because I feel like you and the social circle, the friends that you're dealing with, you might realize that they're not as sincere as they claim. You realize as well that, when you need them, they might not be there. So I feel like somebody who's very, very self-serving, a little bit more self-interested. And so you're not going to be associating with the same group. As it relates to group associations as well, the Seven of Swords in the reverse is basically telling you, really think about whether or not the groups that you belong to really espouse the same value system that you prescribe to as well. Because I feel like there's a mismatch in value. There's a whole concept about rationalizing the things that we're doing so that it will enable us to continue to do it, even though we feel like there's something wrong about it. So I feel like the people in your environment, and these are more acquaintances and things like that, they seem almost as if they're just going through the motions. They seem like they don't have a very, very strong and well-defined sense of self, and it seems as if they don't have they don't have that. They have like shifty, like a very fluid moral compass, and so they can justify, they can rationalize when they do the wrong things. Okay, so they can just like spin that argument around in a way where it takes the blame off of them. And I feel like that's why you're detaching yourself, and you're no longer, and so you're detaching yourself. The final house, the 12th house, deals with secrets. So it deals with secrets, and it deals with institutions. And so, first of all, if you are working in any type of a institutional capacity, with the Seven of Wands, this is a card about, defending the institution, defending the values that they promote. And when it's in the reverse position, I feel like there is a mismatch when it comes to your values linking up with them or aligning with them. So there's a whole process about, I'm going to pick my battle. I'm going to let some things go, and I'm going to, hold people more accountable. And as well with institutions, you could be, for example, a teacher linked up with an educational institution. And you might realize you might not agree with the way that they promote learning, for example. And likewise, whatever institution that you're involved with, I do feel that there's going to be a little bit of conflict of interest, disagreement, and, not really understanding why they do things the way that they do. So procedurally, you might not be in alignment with them. You might not believe in the things that they're trying to promote. And you might not even agree with the procedures that are being implemented. When it's in the reverse position, it's basically telling you as well to pick your battles, okay? What I also feel as well, the 12th house deals with secrets. And secrets usually, indicate some type of a thing in your environment that you might not be aware of, but it's going to show itself sometime for this month or even sometime throughout 2017. And with the Seven of Wands in the reverse position, they're pretty much telling you right now as a warning. I see some fluctuation when it comes to your value system. Your value system, and this is not something that I normally see with Virgos. I feel like you make allowances for other people. You don't call them out on what they're supposed to do. But I've never seen this where you're a little bit like shaky and uncertain about where you stand. You always know where you stand, but I feel like there might be some temptation coming through. I don't want to say temptation. I feel like, you might try to cover up for somebody that you care about. And so, it's a moral judgment. So I feel like you want to be very, very careful here about really standing up for your values, okay? And really standing firm in your beliefs, because once you start compromising, then it becomes like a downhill, it's going to require you to compromise in other areas of your life. So just be very careful about that, because I do feel this energy heavily, and I've never felt it for the other months that I've done readings for Virgos. You guys are usually very, straight and narrow, but there's some wavy energy coming through for this month regarding your values. So once you start compromising, you're going to find yourself like needing to compromise completely all of yourself. And then once we compromise our values, we can never regain that respect, regain that initial position, or at least it's going to be a very, very difficult process to regain ourselves, okay? So please be careful about this, Virgos. I hope the reading has been helpful for you. I'm going to go into your love reading, and I pulled out this card because it represents your 7th house, which deals with your partnerships. So it's going to provide us with a segue into the next part of the reading, which is your love, romance, relationship reading. So love, romance, relationship reading. Okay, so let me just say this. While I was shuffling, I feel like some of you are involved with somebody, right? Like romantically involved with someone. And well, let's start first. I feel like you have, your mom or your dad, your own mom or your own dad, they might have quirks about them. And if you didn't have a good relationship with them, you would say like, okay, I would never date somebody like mom, or I would never date somebody like dad. And then I feel like this month you're looking at your partner, and it's especially for those of you who have a partner right now, and you're just like, oh my gosh, you're exactly like my mom, or you're exactly like my dad. I feel that coming through. And let me see, where are we? Yeah, so I feel that coming through for some of you who are in a relationship right now, who have a partner and who are in a relationship. And I feel like it's a relationship where you've been together for quite some time, and you know each other well, and you know the other person well. And that's why the things that they do remind you of your parents, remind you of like some, either something like your parents did, or the way they behave, or something like that. And so I see you like saying, oh my gosh, you're so much like my mom, or you're so much like my dad. And so there's that sense of familiarity. It can be good or bad, but I feel like there's that sense of like coming full circle. Like irony too, like coming full circle, and the irony of, the person you're dating versus and who they remind you of. So let's talk about your foundation. And your foundation is something that you know to be true, something that is already in the picture, and you're coming into this month already with this knowledge. First of all, we have the Star card in the reverse position. And I just want to say, like, I feel somebody is dealing with some health issues. Either you are dealing with it, somebody you know, or like your partner is dealing with this, or somebody that they know, okay, with this, or somebody that they're dealing with. So there's some health issue, and I feel like it is a degenerative health issue. It's not something that can be treated. It seems almost as if it's getting worse by the day. We also have the Hermit as well, and the Hermit is basically this is your spiritual energy coming through in order to want to uplift, in order to heal. So I feel like for those of you in a relationship, there might have been some health issues affecting the romance, and so one person is called upon to be I want to say like to take care of the other person, either physically, emotionally, or even financially. So there's an uneven, a burden being passed between partners. And so one of you is going to have to like be called upon in order to help a partner through some rough times, okay? And I feel like there might be some health issues. And what I'm also feeling as well with the Hermit, as well with this combination, and especially for those of you who might have had like a relationship where you feel almost like it's fallen below expectation and it's not the relationship that you're looking for. So for example, I feel that it means that it's going to go downhill from here. It's not going to get better. And as well, the main problem with that relationship is that you both don't share a common vision and a common goal. And with the Star card, it basically means, guidance, spiritual guidance. And when the Star shows up in reverse, two people are working at odds with one another. They don't have the same vision. They don't have the same idea of where the relationship is going. And they don't have the clarity to figure out a sense of direction together as a unit. I feel like one person feels very, very alone in the partnership, in the relationship. Okay? And then for those who are single specifically, I feel like you might have tried dating and things have not panned out very well for you. And so this time you're just like, okay, I've tried dating for the past 3 months. So I think I'm just going to move ahead and just be single. So it's as simple as that. What's coming through in the past position here? We do have the Four of Wands as well as the Two of Wands. The Four of Wands, this is a marriage situation, and this is a solidification of some type of a significant relationship. A lot of you might have taken things to the next level, might have gotten married with somebody, okay? And also in the past, a lot of you might have been married. And in that marriage situation, it started out very stable, and then over time, one person was either traveling a lot, or one person was like shouldering the burdens in that relationship, like carrying the entire weight of that relationship, and the other person rested on their laurels. And so moving forward into the present situation, we have here the Devil in the reverse, which basically means, imbalances in the relationship creates a lot of dependencies. One person I feel was doing a lot of the work, and then the other person took it for granted. And so it created a codependent, a very toxic type of an environment. And I feel that you are seeing it for what it is and you are overcoming it. It's also linked up here with the Eight of Swords, which basically means that, no longer making excuses for your partner, no longer like suppressing whatever it is, the dissatisfaction with your partner that you have been harboring. And I feel that you're setting yourself free, okay? You're just like, enough is enough. I am physically and emotionally distraught. I can no longer put up with this type of behavior because I feel alone and isolated, and I feel like they're not doing their fair share of the work in order to grow the relationship with me. So I feel a lot of you are coming into the realization right now. Crowning this reading here is the Justice card in the reverse and the Ten of Wands, dropping some big burden that you've been carrying for quite some time. And I feel like the Justice card is, whatever has been out of balance and one partner was shouldering the responsibilities, it comes crashing down because the other person is upset and they don't want to stay in it and be the one that does everything. So I feel like there is some innate imbalances, and especially if you're living with another person, if they're like never around to take care of responsibilities and those dishes start piling up, have a talk early on, okay? But I feel like this is a lot more serious than just dirty dishes, but over time things add up. So the bottom line here is that there's a major relationship. It's in disarray and it needs to be fixed. And I feel that a lot of you might be in a position where you're going to give them the piece of your mind about straighten things out, help me with the responsibilities, or I feel if you're the one that has been neglecting the duties, they're going to be the one to speak up, and they're going to be like, I can't physically do it on my own. Like, you just can't physically, she can't physically do it on her own. And so somebody needs to step in order to take care of it, okay? So like both parties need to have a discussion about shared responsibilities. That's very problematic. And what's coming through then? So depending on how you handle this energy, that's going to play out differently. But I feel like there has been a relationship where somebody feels very, very alone. And they feel almost as if, yes, we're together, but I end up doing the things by myself. And I end up like not being able to rely on you to be there.